Hey guys, this is Mike, and this is the 9th video in the LibGDX desktop tutorial. So in the last video, we finished up the player and asteroid. Actually, we did the collision, and we have the bullet asteroid collision and also the player asteroid collision. So what we're gonna do in this video is finish up the player hit method. I put that in the last video, but I didn't get around to it because it wasn't really a collision type deal here, player hit. So that's what we're going to finish now, this hit method in player. Basically, the player has sort of two states. One is hit. This is where the player explodes into like the little lines, and then we also have the dead state, which, you know, this happens after the player gets hit, and then like after a couple of seconds then it goes into the dead state, I guess. Basically, when the player hits an asteroid, hit becomes true, and then after like a couple of seconds then dead becomes true after getting hit. So I use these two to figure out whether or not I should respawn the player. So yeah, that's hit and dead. And since we're using the lines to have the player explode, we also need those stuff, private line 2d.float, and these are just going to be hit lines. We also need a point 2d.float to tell whether the direction that the lines are going, the vector. Hit lines vector. We also need a timer. The time it takes after getting hit and getting into the dead state. So private float hit timer. Oops. Private float hit time. So let's just set those things down here in the constructor. Let's just hit is equal to false. Of course, we're not hit yet. Then hit time is 0. Hit timer is 0, and hit time is 2 seconds. So at 2 seconds after getting hit, what did I just do here? Hit. Oh. Okay, so after 2 seconds after getting hit, then the player will be dead, and then I can respawn. So yeah, that's that. Now we can go ahead and do this hit method here. So if the player is already hit, return. We don't want to do anything. And the first thing we want to do, of course, is set hit to true. We just got hit, so that, and then we want to stop the player from moving. So that's dx and dy is 0, and then let go of all the keys. This is left and right and up. Set all those to false. And since we got hit, we want to make the line explosion. So that's what hit lines is for. So we're going to make a new hitline.float. And this is going to be 4 since there are 4 edges on the player polygon. And we're just gonna use this for loop to go through everything here. Okay, so int I is 0, j is equal to hitlines.length minus 1, and I is less than hitlines.length. Oops. And j is equal to I plus plus dot length. Okay. So that's the for loop, and we just want to add the pretty much the edges of the player polygon to here. So hitlines I is equal to new line 2d.float. Oops. And we're gonna pass in I don't really know. Over here, this is just gonna be shape x I, shape yi, shape xj, shape yj, like that. And that's pretty much it. Next thing we need is the hitlines vector, which direction each of the lines are going. So that's new point 2d float. And again, 4 of them, since we have 4 lines. And the first one, hitlines vector 0, is new point 2d.float. And what the hell? Float. And this first one is going to go in the radians plus 1.5 direction. So that's Matthew Till's dot cosine radians plus 1.5f, and then math utils dot sine. Move this down, radians plus 1.5f. So that's the first vector. The second vector is going to be, so this is hit lines vector 1. The next one is going to be minus 1.5. And the third one is going to be minus 2.8. It's minus 2.8. Okay. And the last one is plus 2.8. Hit lines vector 3. This is plus 2.8. And there we have it. So that's that. So in update, that should be the first thing we do. Check if hit. So if hit, then we're going to increment the hit timer. And if hit timer is greater than hit time, then that means we're dead and we should respawn. Otherwise, for every line in the hit line's length, then we're just going to update the hit lines using the vector. So hit lines I dot set line, and we're going to set it to hit lines I dot x1 plus hit lines vector I dot x, and times some speed. I guess maybe 10 pixels per second times dt. And the next one is hit lines I y1, and then this is y, and then this is x2, x, and then the last one is y2, y. So that's that, and then we're going to return. We don't want to update the rest of the player. So that's check hit. And over here in draw, we draw ship here, draw flames there, but if we are hit, again we have to check if hit, then we're not going to draw the ship or the flames, we're just going to draw the hit lines. Ramp I equals 0, I is less than hit lines dot length, I plus plus. Then we're just going to do sr dot line. Move this over. We're going to do hit lines I dot x1, hit lines I dot y1, hit lines I dot x2, and hit lines I dot y2. And sr dot end, and then return. We don't want to draw the rest of the stuff there. Cool. So let's see if this even works. I'm going to try to run into an asteroid here. There we go. So the player explodes into different lines, and that's pretty much the end of the player. Let me just double check one thing though. Okay, so the player stays there over here, and anything that gets hit there still gets hit by the asteroids. So I'm going to have to fix that some other time, but yeah, so the player explodes. That's cool. Let's see. Back in play state, we have to actually respawn the player after it gets hit. So over in update here, update player, we have to check if player.isDead, which we don't have yet, so let's just go ahead and make that. I guess over here, public boolean is hit, return hit, and public boolean is dead, return dead. Okay, so if the player is dead, then that means we should respawn the player. And we're just going to do player.reset. That's pretty much it, and just return, I guess. I mean, there's nothing else to do. So over here, we're going to do public void reset all this is going to do is reset the player's position to the center of the screen. So that's x is game.width divided by 2, y is game.height divided by 2, and then we are going to set the shape. And of course, get rid of the hit and dead flags, like that. See if it works. Okay, so it respawns. That's good. But still, the player, even though the player is dead, the asteroids still get hit. So we have to, of course, fix that over here in play state. When we do player asteroid collision, all of this should be if player is not hit. So I'm just going to move everything over a tab, like that. And that should work pretty much. Let's see. Oh well, I can't really test it, but I'm pretty sure it works. Yeah, it works. See, that asteroid just went right through him. So that's cool. Since this is like an explosions video, I want to do one more thing, and that's we're going to create the sort of particle explosion for the game. So back in entities here, let's go ahead and just get that over with, particle. And the particle is just going to be a tiny dot, pretty much. Space object, of course, like everything else. It's still a space object. We need a timer and a time. This is like to find out whether or not, or how long the particle should stay on the screen. Also need a boolean to know whether or not to remove it. So public particle, all we have to do is give it a starting position, x, y, and just set that. And the width and height is going to be 2. These things are tiny. Speed, 50 pixels per second. Doesn't really matter, you can change that. Radians is going to be random. 360 degrees random, so that's 2 pi. Matthew tells import. Okay. And now from the radians we have to get the direction it's going. dy is Matthew tells dot sine radians, and then multiply by the speed. It could be random actually. Nah, we'll just keep it like that. Timer is 0, time is 1, so after 1 second the explosion should disappear. Let me move this down here. And let's do public boolean should remove. Return remove. And then of course public void update and public void draw. SR. Like that. So shape render, all we have to do is draw a circle. So first let's set the color to white. And sr.begin, we're going to use type circle. And sr.circle, this is just x minus width divided by 2, y minus width, or, well, width and height are both the same since it's a circle. So I guess the radius can be like width divided by 2, whatever. sr.end. And that is our particles object. And now we can use that in the game. So like everything else here, I didn't have this in the Photoshop image, but the thing with the play state and all the classes around it, but I should have this there. It's not really important game-wise, but you know, to make it look nicer. Private array list, we're going to have a particle array list. Just call this particles, like that, and obviously, import. Make sure you import the particle class that you just made here. And in init, we're going to just set that up. I guess over here, particles is new. I didn't spell that right. Particles is new. Array list particle. Like that. And we're going to create a helper method to create particles for us. Private void create particles. Given a position x and y. All this is going to do is create 6 particles. You can add more if you want. and add them to the list. Particles.add new particle given the XY position. And we're going to create particles every time an asteroid gets destroyed. So I guess we could put it in split asteroids, if that makes sense, since an asteroid splits, you know, an explosion happens. Let's see, create particles, and then we're going to give it the asteroid's position, a.getx and a.getY. And I don't know why I ran it. I didn't even update or draw the particles in here. So update player, update bullets, update asteroids, and over here we're going to do update particles for int I equals 0, I is less than particles.size, I++, and particles. I'm having such a hard time typing particles for some reason. And if particles.getI.shouldRemove, then we're going to remove it. Particles.remove I minus minus. And down in draw, of course, we're going to have to draw it. Draw particles here. So for int I equals 0, I is less than particles.size, I++. Particles.getI.draw, SR. Okay, let's see if this works. Hopefully. There we go. They're not moving though, for some reason. And that's probably because I didn't do anything in the update method. Right! I left it empty for some reason. That's weird. So in update, all we're going to do is just update the position, given the vector dx, and the y, dy, oops, dt, and then increase the timer, and then check if the timer has passed the time. And we're just going to set remove to true. Okay, let's see what that looks like. Oh, that was weird. Some of the particles are like shooting off in weird directions. It's crazy. What? Oh, okay, so this is DT, my bad. So anyway, the particles works. So I want to do one last thing before I end the video, and that's to just get the levels to automatically, you know, generate, because right now if you kill all the asteroids then nothing happens. So over here in update, get user input, we're going to do next level. If asteroids.size is equal to 0, we're going to do level ++, and we're going to spawn some more asteroids. So that's pretty much that. And up here, after I created the asteroids list, I don't know why I still have these 3 test asteroids here. Just get rid of that. Okay, let me just test it once. I'm going to try to kill every asteroid and see if it automatically, what do you call it? Starts the next level. Come on. So in this first level there are 4 large asteroids, and the next one there should be 5 large asteroids. Okay, come on. There we go. Okay. And there we go, 5 of them. Okay, so that works. So yeah, that's pretty much gonna be it for this video, and I guess I'm going to work on, I don't really feel like doing the flying saucers yet, so I guess in the next video we're going to do the score and the player lives. So yeah, that's it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.